Hello everyone, I'm here today to share with you one of the techniques used in my May Aunty Vera Scrap and Craft Challenge project, and this is the Watercolour Resist. So you can see it here on this pocket, and I'm going to show you how to use that today on some tags. So for this project you will need a few different things. You will need some white card. I recommend not using watercolor paper for this because watercolor paper is designed to sort of soak up your watercolors. You want something that doesn't quite soak them up. So just plain old white cardstock will do. Cut to your size for whatever you'd like to make. You'll need some plastic backing of some description. I'm using this old piece of plastic packaging. You can use a plastic craft mat, rubber craft mat if you liked. I recommend not using your good rubber craft mat because it will stain it. But if you have like a Ken Oliver craft mat or something, you can use that. You can use the bottom out of reusable bags. So long as it's sort of plasticky and slick, that's fine, whatever you want to use. I'm using this today so that you can see that you can literally use anything. Normally I do have my craft mat I would use. You're going to want watercolors. So there's a few different ways to do it. I'm going to show you 3 techniques. I'm going to use watercolor inks. I'm going to use my Prima Confections watercolors, and I'm going to use the Ken Oliver color bursts from the May kit. So whatever watercolors you have on hand, and you will also need a spray bottle with some water in it, and then you'll need whatever stamps you want to use with clear embossing. So you'll need some clear embossing powder, and you will need an ink that you can clear emboss with. So just grab mine here. I've got the clear Versamark ink, but you might have a different brand that you can use. So that's what you'll need for this project, and let's get into it. So to start off with, you're going to want to emboss your images. If you've never done embossing before, there are some great tutorials here on YouTube. I'm just going to use this book stack stamp here from Kazaz, and you want to use, like I said before, just a clear embossing ink. I'm also using this sentiment here from the Prima Coffee collection. So stamp that on down there. Then you want to put your powder over the top. You can use a different color if you want, but the clear works well for this technique. And then all you need to do is use a heat gun to heat your embossing, and it's all done. Okay, so once you have heated that up, you should get this nice clear finish here, and I have 2 others that I've made. So this one here is using the Leafy Flourish stamp from Kazaz and just some little butterflies I had in my stash. And this one here is using the hot off the press feather dyes. These little flecks you can see here, I didn't intentionally do. My heat gun went crazy and spread them when I was heating them, but I think it will work really, really well with this technique. So once you have your cards embossed, this is the fun part. So you want to get whatever plastic you're using. So like I said, I'm just using this packaging here. And then pick your first card. So I'm going to use this one here first. And first of all, I'm going to show you the technique using the distress inks. So like I said before, I think you can use whatever kind of water-based ink pads you'd like. Distress inks work really well for this, and I'm going to use Vintage Photo and Ground Espresso. My husband would get so annoyed at me for saying espresso, as he used to work in a coffee shop. But I'm going to use these 2 brown colors to give it sort of a vintagey feel. Okay, so what you want to do is just stamp straight onto the plastic. So you kind of can't see my stamping there, but you just want to get like a nice amount of color in. And then this works really well with 2 colors. You can use more, but the colors might bleed. You can use 1, which I'll show you later. But the 2 colors sort of offsetting each other works really well for this. Then what you want to do is you want to just spray it with water. So give it a good spritz of water. The Distress inks are water activated, so they should sort of become like a watercolor. Then you're just gonna rub your paper with the embossed side down straight into this. You probably want to go light color to your dark color, because if you go dark color, it's just going to take everything over. So I'm just going to wipe this in here and then kind of get the coffee color, and you want to kind of press it in, soak it all up so there's no white space left. I'm going to get a bit of a darker bit in that corner, rub some of the darker bit over there, and then you can kind of let it drip in that however much you want. So you can sort of make it wet or not. You can go back in to make it darker. You can kind of do whatever you want with this technique. So once you've got it there, you want to dry it. You can let it air dry. I'm just going to heat mine with my heat gun. So then once it's dry, you can see the little resist technique you get here. I had to move my plastic away because I didn't think about the fact that it would warp. So don't use your heat gun on your plastic. It doesn't work very well. But you can see here, there's little different colors here, and the white embossing, the clear embossing, it just shines through like white there. So that is this one here. I will show you the finished product at the end, but that's my first technique here. I really love using the Distress inks for this technique. So gonna do my next one. Should have mentioned at the start that a good thing to have on hand is baby wipes, or wet ones or whatever, because you're using a plastic surface. They just clean everything up nicely. So that's nice and clean again now. And I'm going to grab my second one here with the feathers. So this time I'm going to use my Prima Confections watercolors. So for this version of the technique, what you want to do is just put a lot of color down. So I'm going to use yellow and orange for this. And you just want to get quite a lot of color and put it down. So there's my yellow. The good thing about using a water brush is I can then drop my water on top. So you might want to give it a little extra spray if you're using a traditional brush. Because I'm using my water brush, I'm just going to put some droplets on there. And you can use, of course, like contrasting colors if you want rather than complementary, but I find the complementary colors work well because it sort of blends the 2 colors together. You get that nice blended effect rather than if you were to use contrasting colors. But I mean, the good thing about this is that it's all about play. So then we'll pop this one out of the way. And we'll do the same thing. You're just going to go in and rub this in. So you can see on this one that once I dried it, the colors became quite dull, and that's because the Distress inks are quite pigmented, so they keep their color, whereas using a watercolor with this technique does make it a little bit lighter. So you might like that soft look if you want some pastel looks. If you want it brighter, you can try and go in again. So that's what I'm gonna do. So here with this one, you can see the colors are a lot brighter than last time. It's still not as bright as I think a yellow and orange combo in the Distress inks would be, but you can definitely do this with whatever watercolors you have lying around. Now you can see here what I meant about using solid images. So this little quote here, sorry, I'm trying to bring it up so I can read it, is don't let life ruffle your feathers, but you can't really see it because of the combination of embossing and the resist technique. It's a bit hard to read there. And the feathers are a little bit hard to make out. So nice defined lines work really well for this. But I think this is a good example to show you sort of what can go right and what can go wrong with this technique. So for my final one, while I just clean this up, I'm going to use the Color Bursts. Sorry, I think I need a new wet one. That one's dried up a little bit. I'm going to use the Oliver Color Burst that comes in the kit. I've only got the one color of it, so I'm just going to show you it with the one color. But this is what I actually used in my layout that you saw earlier. So, oops, sorry, I need that. So for this one, I'm going to use this powder. Sorry, I had to think about the word there. So I'm going to use this watercolor powder. And people are probably going to tell me I'm doing this wrong because I've never used these. But so I'm just going to put some water down first. And I'm just going to put some drops of this in it. And this color's so bright, so I probably just used too much again like I did last time. But you'll be able to see it sort of work. And then I'm just gonna come back in with some water over the top. Again, that hasn't all dissolved because I put it in a big clump, so I'm just gonna dab that there. Maybe put a bit out here that's a little bit lighter so that we might get a little bit of a two-tone effect. Then I'm gonna rub it in. So I'm gonna actually put the lighter color here down the bottom. Oh yeah, see that came out pink. And that is a tag with the Ken Oliver watercolors. These are fantastic, guys. Look how pigmented those colors are. They are just stunning. And I think if you had a few different colors of the Ken Oliver, it would work brilliantly. So they're my 3 cards done with the 3 different techniques, but basically it's just whatever watercolor you have that you would like to use. So to finish off these tags, I just trimmed the corners to make them into a tag shape. I distress inked around the edge to finish off those edges a little bit, and I used some twine from the May kit just to tie off the top there. And as you can see, they turned out different. This one here is my favorite. I think the background looks a little bit like a galaxy background if it was in purples and blues. I might have to give that a go with some planet stamps or something. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this technique. You can use this on tags in your pocket page spreads. If you have background stamps, you can make backgrounds for cards. There's so many great ways to use this technique. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know down below, and please share your projects with me. Bye.